Hello, and welcome to Let Me Be Frank podcast. I'm your host, Frank Duran.
And I'm your special guest, Jack.
And we're going to be talking about many different things today. Many different topics, but all pertaining to a very magical world of Harry Potter.
We wanted to talk about Harry Potter because we like to talk about things we like to watch and read.
Yeah, I think we grew up reading Harry Potter. My mother read Harry Potter, the first 4 books of Harry Potter to each of us, and then we read the next 3 books on our own, and then I think me and you have been to every single Harry Potter basically together, every
I've
movie.
seen all the movies, yeah, and I've read all the books. So
yeah, and we want to kind of talk about the most recent ones, Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
What came out in 2016.
And more importantly, what it means that J.K. Rowling's kind of back in the driver's seat of the Harry Potter universe. And what I mean by that is that the movies, definitely J.K. Rowling was involved. I don't know how specifically, but now she is in the driver's seat. She's the writer of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. When you look online, it only says written by J.K. Rowling. It doesn't even say anybody else helped on it. And same thing for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It just says
she wrote the screenplay, and so it's all her pretty much.
It's all her.
With a little bit of help from other authors.
Obviously, I'm sure. But it's definitely just her. And what that means to kind of taking back the Harry Potter universe reigns, going back to the way the books were. And I think that shows in Cursed Child. I think Cursed Child is a great book because it's the most logical step in the Harry Potter universe. It's the next generation. It's the closing of Harry's story.
Yeah, the next part in Harry's story, because nothing really happens for 19 years, and
then something happens.
Happens.
And I think it's really cool, and I would love to see the actual play. I mean, you read that.
I wish they made that a movie.
Yeah, I absolutely, and I think they have said they want to. I don't know if it's confirmed or not yet, but they want to make Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I don't know if that'll happen because there's lots of weird stuff that would happen there. Because do you get Daniel Radcliffe back? Do you get because now he's older? What do you do? But I think there's some interest. It would be cool to see it in theaters to see what their vision is on stage. Actually, I know that the actors said they loved the play, and a bunch of other people have said the play is very good.
It's had really good reviews, obviously.
And the screenplay is just fantastic. It reads kind of like
maybe the first Harry Potter book almost. It kind of brought back
a lot of those memories.
The first books, because it was just J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and it's just kind of well thought out, well planned. It all feels like it falls into place at the end, even though the middle is chaotic. And I think that's what J.K. Rowling's been so good at for so many years, is being realizing that there's a plan in all the chaos of her writing and the funness of that chaos.
They added back time travel like they did in. Was that the third?
Yeah, that's the third book. That's and it's just it's fun that they bring all these old things that you recognize in the Harry Potter universe into the Cursed Child, but add that kind of 19 years gap and having children and Harry having to deal with the problems of having kids, and being a world famous wizard still,
Yeah, so I liked seeing the ending of Harry Potter. I liked how it rounded out the end of Harry Potter,
Yeah, and
it felt like that was kind of the ending it needed.
Yeah, and
I guess so.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's not the most logical step. Cursed Child is. It's supposed to be what's the end of Harry's story, moving on to the next generation. It's X-Men moving on to the new X-Men or next gen. It's always it's passing the torch.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can fall flat, and sometimes it doesn't. And right here in Cursed Child, it doesn't. And Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, it's so strange because it has nothing to do with Harry or Voldemort, really. It doesn't really have anything to do with them at all. And I think that's a very bold step for J.K. Rowling and the rest of them to do something that's very Rogue One-ish. It's an offshoot that has nothing to do with Jedi or / wizards, but it still has everything to do with the universe.
The only character that stays is Dumbledore,
and Dumbledore's not even in this.
It's not even in this yet. Yeah,
and I think that there's Fantastic Beasts: Where to Find Them. Just to kind of like talk about it a little bit. I am holding in my hands right now. You can hear this flappity flap.
The
book, the first edition, American edition of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Way back in 2001, J.K. Rowling wrote under the name of Newt Scamander, and there was also the Quidditch one, History Through the Ages, and I loved History Through the Ages. I loved it. And I thought this was so funny because Fantastic Beasts: Where to Find Them was great because it was all the mystical creatures you could ever think of in the Harry Potter universe, and there was this kind of funny guy who would do ridiculous things, narrating the whole thing. Kind of writing his own perspective into every one of the beasts. Kind of sounded like Hagrid in a way. And then you see this movie, and you're like, man, it feels like that's exactly the guy who wrote this book. That's exactly that character. J.K. Rowling has such a solid idea of her characters, and I think it shows through that the first edition of this book still feels like it's relevant to this movie, even though it has nothing to do with the movie other than he says he's going to write the book at the very beginning. And I really liked.
That's all I really loved everything about. All the Fantastic Beasts were great.
Yeah.
And Newt Scamander being played
by Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne is really a great choice.
Eddie Redmayne dissolves into roles. He's just gone. And in here, he is still...
That's what I really like about this movie is that I fell into that.
Yeah, he's just gone. He's gone. He's that role, and it feels like...
And you follow him on his adventure, and it's just so good.
And I think the casting's so good in this movie. I think that they do a great job of everybody. His sidekick and Graves is Colin Farrell, and who's always so dangerous looking. And I think there's always there's a ton of great people in this movie that aren't your usual picks as casting, but they work so well. I love the little taste of Justice League where you get Ezra Miller as Credence, the kind of bad guy in this. Not really the bad guy, but the big bad, I guess, is him in this. And you're just kind of like, ooh, you get to see Ezra Miller, flex his acting, and you get to see him in Flash in Justice League. You're like, that's gonna be cool.
But I think the only interesting thing that happened out of this movie is that it sets up for sequels, and I kind of hate that.
You didn't like that?
I usually don't like origin stories. I mean, this was usually better than normal, but
because it's not really an origin story.
I guess not, because yeah.
It's not exactly an origin story, but it kind of introduces the character.
I think it's better than normal, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you're just saying.
And then I did find the plot twist at the end interesting too.
Yeah,
but I think everything else was kind of boring and mediocre. In the Harry Potter universe of what you can do, I just think it was kind of slow.
So my counter argument to that is that I feel like this is, again, J.K. Rowling taking the reins of the Harry Potter universe back. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them reads like a Harry Potter novel. Harry goes out to do something, and there's a ton of problems in the way, and you meet lots of fun friends, and you go on fun adventures, and you're introduced to things or cultures you're not usually introduced to. Like, before it was all British wizardry world, and here it's the American wizardry world, which is, it's very American. I don't know how else to say it. It frightens me, that scene where they basically are about to do the death penalty on the two of them. It is the scariest thing for me because it reflected in me as an American that we have that in our system,
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that, but it's very similar, it's very similar to being like, I'm going to put a needle in your arm. Hey, it won't hurt one bit, but you're going to be dead in 5 seconds, it's something, it's kind of, it makes you just look at us as Americans. And I thought that was kind of an interesting part to this movie.
I thought it was interesting that J.K. Rowling wrote a book about America in the 1920s. I thought that was very interesting. Like that was the most interesting part too. That's what she chose. It's not in England.
Yeah, and it's very different. He's the only English character there, and they're all
exactly.
Americans. Like
there's one or two British people, and it's like, oh, okay, like this is American. So it's like it's
really a different part of the universe, and that's why I'm saying it's a bold choice. Is that they could have just stayed in England? They could have gone all over.
That's why it's kind of better than a prequel because it's part of the universe and it makes sense, and it's like kind of a prequel, but it's not.
And I think it's really interesting to see that universe, and I think that's kind of why the movie's slow is that it's like a Harry Potter book. She's introducing a lot, she's showing a lot. There's lots of fun adventures to try to keep you interested with him catching the beasts and everything. And I think it's definitely a slower film, but I think it's just her being a writer going to a movie, and I think a lot of people have done way worse. It's
definitely not.
And she's doing a great job at that transition from being a novel writer to a screenplay writer.
And the ending is definitely not slow because the last 30 minutes is just action packed.
Yeah, it's really
so
is.
I don't like. It's definitely an interesting movie,
Yeah.
It definitely entertained me.
Yeah. So it's not. You're not saying it's a bad movie. You're just saying you have these problems with it.
Obviously, I was entertained.
Yeah.
It was the new Harry Potter stuff, and I'm always going to probably enjoy it, but it was good anyway.
And I think that also the difference is that I saw it in IMAX, which was beautiful to see all this stuff in, and you saw it on a small screen the way it is, able to be seen, and
I still got it all though.
Yeah, I think you absolutely, and I think.
But I bet it's way better in IMAX.
Most things are, it can mask a pretty bad movie.
But it makes it really good.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this movie is perfect because I'm saying your problems are correct. I'm just saying that I was forgiving of them because I know it's a novel writer going to a screenplay, and this is how she writes. And it kind of is an exact translation of a Harry Potter book kind of feel to a movie. And I think that's important, and I think it was important for her to accomplish. And I think she's going to learn from both Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and make a better film for the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them too.
And it's rumored that it's like 5 more films.
5 more films?
Yeah, dude.
What? I thought there was at least 3, but
so
5?
It's gonna be a 5 movie for the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah,
and maybe another in the Cursed Child.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I absolutely think that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2 is gonna be Grindelwald and Dumbledore with Newt sprinkled in. I don't think he's going to be a main character, and I think
there's going to be some beasts.
Yeah, there's going to be some beasts, and I think it's going to involve him, but I don't think it's going to be about him, and kind of what this movie's not really about Newt either. Newt's kind of a guy falling through a situation, until it's really about American fear of magic, and what they have to deal with to try to hide their identity, or if they should hide their identity,
And that kind of happened all over in America.
Yeah,
at different times in where people had to hide their identity. It was kind of really relatable.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely
that happened in the 20s. That happened through the time of history.
She's a smart writer, and she gets it, and I think that she's trying to say us a bigger lesson, kind of, and I think it shows in this, and I think that both of them have fantastic endings. I think they both Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts have really cool endings.
Really great, end of book and end of movie.
So if you're having if you're reading it and maybe you're just I don't know, like Jack was saying, it's kind of slow, wait till the end because it's going to kick up to overdrive. It's going to
It does have a really good endings for both of them. That was this real good strength of hers.
Always. Every single Harry Potter book ends fantastic. I think pretty well. I think not every movie. I don't think I don't like 4. Out of all the movies, 4, 5, and 6 are kind of boring. 6 is not that bad. 6 is pretty good because David Yates, who directs this, Fantastic Beasts Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
But it's still not as capturing is I think the 2 7 movies are split, you know, like
2 7 movies. That was interesting to split the last book into 2 movies too.
Yeah, it's kind of a bold move, and it's kind of fucked the industry forever. I think that it's like a lot of people feel like they can split their last movie, like their last book, which sometimes your book isn't big enough to be split in half. Like, why would you think there would be 2 movies? You're just going for a money grab.
This kind of seemed like 2 movies.
Oh yeah, it definitely works, and they definitely have the necessary beat of Dobby dying in the middle to bridge the 2 movies and like to keep it feel like there was suspense when it really didn't have that in the book. You know, it was a straight shot to the end. You know, like but like the book even feels like 2 movies. I feel like the book is Harry Potter and the extremely long camping trip, and then Harry Potter, you know, like it's the Deathly Hallows, you know, like
so it kind of made sense to split that up.
Yeah, it makes
sense.
Where
they get all the Horcruxes, and then the last one is actually fighting Voldemort, which actually makes sense.
Yeah, and
movie wise, I guess this is like the right choice for this.
Yeah, and I think that Harry Potter 3 is the best one. I think absolutely, it's absolutely just well crafted, well made, well acted. Everyone brings it that time, and I think it really works. And I think that if they do Cursed Child right, it might rival that, but we'll see how they can do Cursed Child because they don't have Alan Rickman. Can they even do it without Alan Rickman? I mean,
I guess they
didn't have General from the Rogue One, the general. They didn't have him, and they fucking put him in there. So like,
that's never worth it to like ever do again.
But
it costs so much money to like actually.
Yeah, it's definitely a Disney thing.
Just replace them with a different actor,
right? But I mean, Alan Rickman Snape was literally written for Alan Rickman. Like,
I know.
J.K. Rowling says that. She says she wrote it for him, you know, like
at a point when she knew that Alan Rickman was going to be Snape, she started writing.
No, she wrote like before she was like, oh, it's going to be like Alan Rickman, you know, like, and that's how she did it. And
it's just based off of him anyway.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like he's so fit. He fits so well. It would be hard to replace him, you know, like. But I mean, they did it for Dumbledore. So who gives a fuck, right? Like
they're just gonna do it anyway.
They were just like, yeah, you know, he's just the best wizard in the entire thing. Let's just replace him real quick. No biggies. No one will tell. No one will know. So, I mean, just to kind of.
What would you rate the new ones?
Okay, so Cursed Child I liked a lot. I think it's a great read. I finished it in one go,
just because it's a screenplay,
like I did before though, like I did with the Harry Potter books. 7, I sat down and read that for 7 fucking hours. Didn't eat much and finished the book. You know, like 7th book was, and I remember being so young and being like, yeah, you know, like it was just like, yes, it was such an awesome thing and so cool to take it all in. And I think I got the same feeling with Cursed Child, is that I finished it in like one go basically, and I think it shows.
Yeah. What would you rate Cursed Child?
I think it's got to be an 8.5 or a 9. I think it's gonna have to be visuals, because as a filmmaker, as an artist, I make up great visuals in my head. Who knows if it'll actually come out on screen?
It's entertaining.
/ stage, but like I think it's very entertaining read. What would you get rated?
Just like, I'm going to rate them both at the same time, because I'm just going to be like 7.5 for both of them.
Okay.
Because like, I think they were both entertaining.
Yeah.
But this is like, not that great.
No? You don't think that the time traveling and bringing back Voldemort and Harry after facing his own parents' death in real life?
And I take, like, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but like, definitely just like average.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I understand.
But it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I think I gotta give Fantastic Beasts a 7.5 or an 8. I think I gotta give it an 8 because it's a very solid film.
I think solid.
But it's another movie that has the problem of, if the sequel's not good, that movie's gonna be bad, you know. Like, we'll so like Fantastic Beasts is a good movie, but it will be a bad movie if the next movie's bad, you know. Like, that's kind of the way I feel the same way about Force Awakens, is that I think Force Awakens is a good movie, but it all rides on The Last Jedi, because if The Last Jedi if none of the things are tied up from fucking Force Awakens, who gives a shit?
It's like the same situation.
Yeah, you're just like gonna be pissed again. You're gonna be blue-balled and be like, well, I don't fucking know anything anymore. You know, like
it wasn't good enough.
I don't fucking know anything. You know, like, and so I think that it falls into that trap that if the sequel's not good, which I do believe The Last Jedi is gonna be good. Come on, it's Disney and they fucking knocked it out of the park with Rogue One and Force Awakens. I thought. We'll find out. But, like, you know, like, I think Rogue One is a solid example of a great Star Wars film, and somehow we made it in the modern era. You know, like, and, like, and I think that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them will open up so much more Harry Potter for us. You know, like, we'll have so much more Harry Potter universe. And I think Cursed Child is kind of, if they go on to the next generation and they use Harry's kid as the next generation and his friend, it'll be cool. It'll be really cool, but they just gotta. I don't know if it'll work. You know,
I wonder if they'll make more of it if they think it'll be successful. If they do a run of Fantastic Beasts and they do a run of
the sequels to Cursed
Child. I don't know if she would write more. Do you think J.K. Rowling would write more Cursed Child?
I don't know. It's kind of. It's interesting. I don't know if there's sequels to Cursed Child. If you guys know, comment down below. Leave a link for us so that way.
Is there any rumors of that ever making?
Because we know there's so much more Fantastic Beasts to come, but I don't know if there's more Cursed Child. We'll find out, obviously. And I mean, she's making more money than she did before, and so I'm sure she's just gonna continue and still kick a bunch of ass.
I'm gonna see it all. So.
Yeah, of course, I'm gonna be there front row every time. You know, like I mean, next time we're gonna have to go to IMAX because the IMAX is where it's at.
IMAX, yeah.
Yeah, Reading, Reading, Mass. Go over there and take the IMAX. Jordan's Furniture, Beantown. You know, you can pick up the jelly beans. You know, you can go to your movie. You know, they got a Fun Ruckus.
Fun Ruckus, eat a burger.
Eat a burger, go to your movie. Okay, so. Guys, I mean, thank you for listening into our Harry Potter drivel. I know it's kind of an old topic, but I felt like it was an interesting thing to talk about. J.K. Rowling kind of being back in the role and what that means. And
yeah, definitely adding to the Harry Potter universe pretty much.
Yeah, and basically, you know, the movies before were not, 4, 5, and 6 were not good because they were trying to adapt the books to a T, but they would have to cut out things instead of just making a movie about the Harry Potter book. Just you know, like and like that's what we'll see moving forward. I think.
What do you personally think of J.K. Rowling?
I think she's great. I think she's awesome. I think she's got. Like I love her Twitter. Like I love her. Yeah,
do you listen to her Twitter? Like
and she's wicked funny, and all her calling out Trump is awesome. You know, like and it's just like so funny that she does all that shit. And I think that she's a great writer, and I haven't read The Vacancy, but you have.
Her other book, which was just completely not Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Which was okay, too.
Yeah, it was good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just about a small town, right? It was just like...
I like her writing.
Yeah.
Mostly it's for kids and young adults, though.
Yeah, and I think that's...
Definitely.
Not a bad thing, but it definitely can be a bad thing to some of our listeners. You know, like some people might not like that type of way to be talked to, I guess. But like,
I don't know. I think it keeps it just whimsical and magical, which is good.
And that's what I think was so great about Fantastic Beasts is that it really was so whimsical. You know, like it really was just like felt like you were going on an adventure with Eddie Redmayne, and you know.
So I think it's a good choice for her to be there. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's great that she is in control again and kind of really showing her vision of the Harry Potter universe, which is the only vision. You know, like it would kind of be like doing the Game of Thrones show without ever consulting George R. R. Martin, which they did, and he approved all the changes going forward. So I'm excited to see what, they do.
Are you excited for Game of Thrones new season?
I'm excited for Game of Thrones new season. Of course, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. And I mean, it's going to be, as always, just everyone watching the same show at once, which is so exciting. You know, like, I think that no other show does that nowadays, where literally you could go up to anybody and be like, did you see Game of Thrones last night? And they're like, yeah, I fucking did.
It's very popular for sure.
Yeah, and I think I think there's shows back in our parents' day, that would happen all the time, where everyone would be watching the same show. But in such a diversified culture where you can watch anything you want anytime, not everyone watches the same show all the time. You know, like there's a bunch of people who watch Walking Dead, but I don't fucking watch Walking Dead. I watch Flash, but I don't watch Arrow. You know, like so there's obviously people watching Arrow because it's got tons of fans. You know, like
obviously with Netflix we watch a lot of different things.
Yeah, with Netflix we watch tons of stuff, and I think that Game of Thrones is awesome because it brings together everybody because they want to see that. And it's good on HBO. Like, you know, like, and HBO's been trying to get more fantasy shows because of it. You know, Netflix does the more sci-fi because they got Stranger Things as their win. And HBO's like, I'll just drop a bunch of fantasy shit and we'll hope it works. You know, like, and they're still doing their normal thing. It's just like, obviously you can see they're like, can we get more Game of Thrones? And everyone's thinking that. Everyone was trying to. Netflix was trying to do that with, what was that one? The Genghis Khan show. I forget what that Netflix show was called. And
a bunch of different things. There's Marco Polo.
That's it. The Genghis Khan one. That was what I was saying. But Marco Polo's exactly them being like, Game of Thrones in Japan, in China, and you're like, yeah, okay. Like, you're like,
Vikings tried to do it with Vikings.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Game of Thrones with Vikings.
Yeah.
And who does Game of Thrones in space? Deep Space Nine. Like, no, not Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but hopefully Star Trek Discovery. We'll find out. But guys, thank you for listening in. Thank you for listening to our podcast, and I want you guys to kind of understand what the structure is. So the podcast is just me and Jack talking about a topic that we have come up with.
Or multiple topics of stuff.
Multiple topics of stuff.
We just like to talk about things we like, you know?
Yeah, you know. And the reviews are short, kind of quick.
Things we watch and want to talk about stuff, yeah.
And we want to do more mobile games. We want to do Let's Plays at some point. We are getting to that point. I think we're going to start with the Switch when that comes out.
We like video games, so let's play some video games.
Yeah, why not? And we definitely want to build on all this, and we want to go towards going live with you guys, so that way you can comment and talk back to us, and it'll be kind of fun. And I think that would be really cool when we go Facebook Live when we're recording some of the reviews. You know,
we'll just always be on Facebook or YouTube.
So. Yeah, Facebook or YouTube is the channels. So like us on Facebook. It's the Let Me Be Frank podcast. And then on YouTube, you hit the subscribe button, baby. And thank you guys for listening in. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter for life,
all new shows coming out. I think we're always hyped for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's tons of stuff we're going to be reviewing in the future. I think that we've already recorded a bunch of reviews that hopefully will be coming out to you real soon. And we got great things coming your way. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great one.